Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about linked list. A linked list is a data structure that consists of sequence of nodes where each node contains a value and a reference to the next node in the sequence. There are some other definitions as well, which you can read at your own pace by stopping this video. In JavaScript, we can implement a linked list using objects. Let's jump back to our code editor to take a look at an example of linked list implementation in JavaScript. In this example, we have two classes, node and linked list. Node represents a node in the linked list and linked list represents the linked list itself. Let's write down a class for node. The node class has a value property that stores the value of the node and a next property that references the next node in the sequence. So whenever a node is created, it is expecting a value. By default, it will set the next reference to null. Now, let's write down the class for linked list. The linked list class has three properties: head, tail, and size. Head is a reference to the first node in the sequence. Tail is a reference to the last node in the sequence. And the size stores the number of nodes in the linked list. Let's quickly write them down. The constructor is not expecting any value while creating a new linked list, and it assigns null to both head and tail, and the size 0 when we try to initialize a new linked list. Now, let's write a method add to tail, which adds a new node to the end of the linked list. If the linked list is empty, the new node becomes both the head and the tail of the list. Otherwise, the next property of the current tail node is set to the new node, and the new node becomes the new tail. Then we increment the size by 1. Now, let's add the remove from tail method. This method removes the last node from the linked list and returns its value. If the linked list is empty, it returns null. If the linked list has only one node, both head and tail are set to null. Otherwise, we traverse the linked list until we find the second to the last node. We then set the next property of the second to the last node, update the tail to the second of the last node, and return the value of the removed node. Then we decrement the size by 1 and return the removed node value. The last property in this linked list that we are going to implement is going to be called getSize. Let's export this. Let's go to our index.js file. As you can see, I've already added the tester code for linked list, which imports the linked list class and then initializes a new linked list with the linked list class. Then it adds to the tail a value 12. Then we console log it. And then we console log the size of the linked list. Then we finally remove the value from the linked list and then console log it. Let's test this out. As you can see, when we added a node, it got onto our head and tail. Then we got a size of 1. It got onto our head and tail references, and it shows the size correctly as 1. Then when we removed it, it set both head and tail to null and reset the size to 0. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.